I haven't been sleeping on this band, I've just been unconscious. So, Rolo Tomassi is a mathcore experimental rock band, metalcore band, hailing from Sheffield. It turns out they're from Sheffield. I didn't even know. I'm from Sheffield. That's my hometown, and I didn't even know. They didn't even tell me. And Buffalo Staple is the reason why I checked this album out, because he gave a raving review. Raving review. 9 out of 10. Could be a potential album of the year from him. We shall see. And it turns out his opinions are the best in the game, because this album did not let me down. And I feel like I may as well just say go watch his review, because he kind of says everything I feel about it, I suppose, now. I mean, this is just really well made. This is a great album. I can't believe how good this sounds, and I almost didn't even experience it. So, thank you, Buffalo Staple. I love introducing people to albums, and I love being the reason why someone knows of an album. So I feel like it's important to credit others as well when they do the same to you. And yeah, this album, man, it really just strikes a chord. And I don't really know what it does that's so like different, but I think there are a few things that stands out for the sound that they do. I mean, for one, the vocalist Eva Spence, fucking vocals. What? Are you kidding me? That voice is just unbelievable. I just cannot believe how good she sounds. That the second track on the album, I mean, the opening track is just really nice, just washed out instrumental that I really love. I think it's got such a beautiful vibing sound to it, which is a great opening start to the album, because I just didn't know what I was going to expect from that point, because I was like, okay, what kind of album are we getting? Like, I know that it's delving into mathcore and there are heavier like elements to it, but this opening track just got me kind of like, what's coming next? It was honestly so exciting on first listen. Like, I don't think many albums get you that kind of way with that opening track, to be honest. But then it comes into the second track and we got Eva Spence just sort of floating away with her voice. It's so angelic. It did sound a little like simple and plain in its instrumentation on this track. I mean, it did certainly remind me of like 90s emo, and especially like some of the emo revival that you get these days. The World is a Beautiful Place I pulled from that track. And I have come across many friggin' like Kerrang type bands that are heavy in their approach or their sound, or like a labeled metalcore, but the only difference is that there's a female singer instead, and that's really unfair to just brand a band as like, oh well, they're just female fronted. But the issue is that is exactly how they are promoted and they are marketed. The singer is always extremely attractive, and they know that that's what's going to be the selling point. But musically, they're incredibly standard, typical, average, and they know that the best way to push this band is using the front vocalist because they're beautiful. And nothing against being beautiful. I mean, it's usually pretty great to be beautiful, but I just think when it comes to the music and that's the only selling point you've got, I ain't interested. And I almost thought that that's what this was going to be. I thought, oh, no way, they're going to do it again, aren't they? They're going to have this style. But no, she is an amazing vocalist. Then when on the tracks after this, there are screamed vocals and Eva Spence's vocals blended together. It is honestly such a good combination. The screamed vocalist certainly reminds me of a lot of other metalcore type bands. I mean, I wouldn't say the sound of his voice is anything you haven't heard before. I was quite reminded actually of a lot of the Converge stuff, which I don't know if that's just because Converge put out a great album last year, so my mind is going directly to that. But they were such a pioneer of the genre, and they have been consistent for like 20 years, so it's really hard to not cite them as an influence. But there is a presence to his voice, honestly, that I really enjoy. And again, when Eva's vocals come through as well on the same track, it offers such a nice switch up. I kind of wish there was more of it. I feel like this album didn't utilize the fact that when they're both on the same song and like kind of having their own points in the song, it actually sounds really good. But I do think that they didn't want to keep to a formula, because it's very clear that this album actually doesn't just go for metalcore, mathcore. There's a lot of other elements too. I feel like there's a post rock influence too on this album. I was getting a bit of like a yeah, Death Heaven. I fucking forgot their name. Death Heaven. That sort of like crescendo type stuff. The way that the music kind of just keeps going and builds and builds. And actually, you know what? One of the only tracks that felt completely like mathcore inspired was the Hollow Hour. I feel like the other tracks were more heavier than this one, and I would like to see them do more of the mathcore stuff, to be honest. Get a bit of Dillinger Escape Plan in there and you can't go wrong. I think that would be pretty brilliant for the music that they're making. And if I'm going for another nitpick here, I do feel like I wanted a bit more Eva. I don't know why. She's on the album like a lot. There are some tracks where she is the prime focus over the instrumentation, but I don't know, it was kind of like that Jean Grey Quality Chris album. Like, as much as Jean Grey was a prominent part of the album, it just felt like at times she was not as active. And this album is, again, it's just that similar thing where it's just like she's there a lot, but I just felt like I wanted a little bit more of her. A Flood of Light is just absolutely gorgeous, honestly. I love like heavy albums that bring out that gorgeous sound. They really hit it here. I mean, they hit the spot on this album. Generally across the board, I would say it's pretty damn solid. Not really a lot that I can say is bad. Musically, I think it's brilliant. It's executed in such a good way. And considering I've never checked out this band before, I've got to say I'm massively impressed. And yeah, I think this is going to go down as one of my favourite heavier releases of the year. I don't talk enough about metal. I think that if you do like metalcore, mathcore, go check this out, please. Time Will Die and Love Will Bury It is a B+. It's a B+. Go check it out. Thank you, Buffalo Staple, again for this recommendation. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. If you've heard it, comment below. If you haven't heard it, let me know when you have heard it and tell me what you think. Yeah, subscribe. Have a good day.